How is everybody doing? This is Justin Simpers coming at you with another edition of How to Make More Money. So I want to touch base with you guys and really emphasize what it means to not be average. Now, a lot of you guys are, maybe you're aspiring salespeople. For me, I thought I was going to own 30 Subway franchises. Didn't quite work out that way. Take me back to college, left college to go open up a franchise, and then 2 years later, blammo! So, as I tried to pick up the pieces, I had a friend that was doing super well in the exchange marketplace and selling on Wall Street, and he was killing it. Like, he had a freezer full of money, and he had money coming out of his safe and all that stuff. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, sales, you got to get into it. So I did. And I probably started at the funnest sales job I've ever had. I think by far was, I shared a little bit about, was timeshare. But anyway, when I came into the timeshare industry, it's not like they give you a manual and they go, hey, here, learn how to sell some timeshare. So when I came in, you had to take a class, right? So you got to do a 2-3 day class on what it is, and you take, a tour and you figure it out, and you're like, okay, I could do this. And so, when I came into the industry of selling and selling timeshare, my first 3 months, I think I was a top salesperson 2 out of the 3 months. And then it started to dwindle down from there. But I was always in the top 10, I'd say. I did it for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I relocated, so then I ended up changing careers anyway. But, selling timeshare in Branson, Missouri was definitely a challenging venue. So, how was I not average? I was not average because I was literally watching sales movies, reading books, trying to figure out what can I do to sell more timeshare. And the one thing that I think was hardest for me to do was to actually sit there and be myself, right? Not try and be the guys that I saw in the movies, the Boiler Room, Glengarry Glen Ross. Not trying to be that guy, but being myself, right? So, I ended up starting to mess around with people on my own, being myself. I remember I had a manager one time saying, hey, why don't you just break out a contract when you sit down with your tour, sit down, bring a pen and go, hey, who's ready to buy right now? Well, I took that and ran. That was fun. I did that. And the result was a tick in sales. So I am constantly was morphing, my sales techniques and how I did things. So when I actually did a geographical and came back to California, I went into phone sales, lease financing, coldies, right? 270 plus phone calls a day. It was just constant dial, right? Whole different line, whole different ball game. Right? But I was the guy always on the top of the board for the coldies for the day. How many did you make? I don't know. Did you make as many as Justin? I don't know, but I was always busting out the cold calls. It was effort. Pure effort. Now, I'm more of a face-to-face guy. I like to interact in person more than I do on the phone. So if I'm sitting there and I'm calling you on the phone, I had to refine myself. I had to rediscover what it was that made this game and this business fun for me. Because if it wasn't fun for me and I wasn't exploring those options of actually entertaining myself and the people that I'm working with as I'm performing work, then it becomes more of a job. And if I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start dialing New York in the morning and then work my way back west through the end of the day, then I'm going to need to have some motivation from it. I remember there'd be times where I'm on the phone with people and I got a crowd of people around me, around my cubicle, dying, laughing because I'm having that much fun with it. Now, was it something where I'm like, yay? Yeah, no, not really, but I did it every day to the best of my ability. I'm not a morning person. I didn't even get up early at all. Like, literally, it takes me an hour to open up my eye. But I was in the office at 4:30 in the morning, calling the East Coast. They're like, where are you at? I'm like, California. I should be in bed, but I'm talking to you right now. Again, effort, not being average. And then I came into the mortgage industry, and there you go. I mean, I wanted to learn the inside. I wanted to learn how loans worked, and it was a completely different language and ballgame. It wasn't selling timeshare. It wasn't selling a dream. It wasn't coldies and just collecting checks and trying to do lease financing. This was a completely different business. So I had to learn the inside. So I put my sales hat on the shelf for a few years, and then I started learning how the loan industry works, because if I'm going to know what I'm talking about, which is something that I do, I need to study this game for many years so I can fully digest what it is that I'm doing. So I went on the inside and became a account manager. I wanted to be the best account manager in the whole country. Like, I was literally driven by that. It's like, can I win, account manager of the year, the quarter? Like, what can I do? I'm going to fund more loans than you, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, it was all sales driven. That's what it was all about. So if you want to be average, you're going to be an average take-home pay kind of guy. But if you don't, and you want to improve your game, you got to give it your all. You got to do everything you can to do what you need to do to make yourself happy. And along the way, make sure that you are true to yourself in the process. Anyway, thanks so much. Tune in, share all the videos on all of social media, all of it. Anyway, Justin Sippers, 949-310-3750. And thanks so much.